21. They said that during the battle for Misrata, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, they weren't sure exactly, they were taken into a house by, they say, senior officers and special forces, as they called them. 20 officers, they claimed, first shot members of a family and then took 4 daughters upstairs and gang raped them, after which the young soldiers said they were taken in and forced and threatened and made to rape the girls as well. Now, my sense was that these two were telling the truth. It's possible that they were coerced. They are in prison. It's possible, of course, that the rebel authorities are seeking ways. It would be logical to put Colonel Gaddafi's forces in the worst possible light. I found those two stories credible of those men. Whether or not this is a systematic problem across the city is harder to tell. Certainly the local authorities, the rebel authorities, insist that is the case. The trouble, they say, is that because of the deeply conservative culture there, women and families are very, very cautious about coming forward and actually admitting that this has happened.
It is the sort of problem that one tragically hears about so often in war. Just tell us a bit more about the situation in Misrata now. How difficult a place is it to be?
The siege of the city itself has been lifted to some extent in that the front lines have been pushed back and there are new towns and villages and farms, importantly, under rebel control, and so produce is being brought in. The city is coming back to life. People say it's breathing again. That's what you hear a lot. It's still very difficult, though, to get a lot of supplies, and frankly, a lot of these areas, outlying areas, are only just coming back under rebel control. There's still a lot of shelling around, and I think that's added to the difficulty of finding out exactly what's going on with these allegations of rape. A lot of people have gone missing, a lot of people have been displaced, and the authorities are still investigating and trying to find out quite how systematic and widespread these rape allegations are.
Indeed. OK, Andrew Harding there, thanks very much indeed. Well, as the Libyan conflict enters another week, the European Union's Foreign Affairs Chief Cathy Ashton has become the most senior foreign visitor to visit Benghazi, which is, of course, the main rebel stronghold. She insisted the EU is in the country for the long term. And there, rebel troops are finishing their training before being sent to the front line. Andrew Hoskin has been to see one rebel brigade. It's the first time a foreign journalist has been allowed into the training camp.
They've got the boots and the uniforms, but where are the rifles? 3 months ago, these rebel fighters looked more like disorganised volunteers than soldiers. But as this conflict has continued, they appear to be better trained and better organised. But as their commander acknowledges, they've still got some way to go before they're a force to be reckoned with.
We are willing to go further on to get rid of Gaddafi. So the training based on this fact that we have to do something even with no facilities. We have to build it again from zero in this very short time.
New recruits are now put through a 2-month training programme, including lessons on how to operate small arms and anti-aircraft guns, which are the only real weapons these men have.
The pickup truck with the big gun in the back has so far been the defining image of this conflict in Libya. But the fact of the matter is, for this brigade of 600 men, there are only 9 of these vehicles, and all of them have been supplied by volunteer civilians.
But what these fighters lack in conventional firepower, they try to make up for in imagination and ingenuity. This helicopter rocket launcher would normally be used for air-to-ground combat, but in a no-fly zone, the rebels have developed very different ways of using the weapon. The true number of soldiers of Colonel Gaddafi's command is widely disputed. The feeling here is that it could be as low as 3,000. But these men all freely admit they need more than guts and determination to win this war.
Yes, we need a heavy weapon. It would be useful to defeat Gaddafi, and even we prepare this old weapon to defeat him as well.
But despite their lack of weapons now, these men hope it will only be a matter of weeks, if not days, before they're armed and ready to fight pro-Gaddafi troops on the front line. Andrew Hoskin, BBC News, Benghazi.
Now, the Vatican has opened its own train station and railway line, which it's had for many years, to the public for the very first time. Our Rome correspondent Duncan Kennedy was one of the first passengers.
Vatican City, the world's smallest country, home to the planet's shortest national railway. For the first time, the Pope's train and train station have been opened to the fare-paying public. The Vatican completed the railway in 1933. John XXIII used it regularly, subsequent popes only occasionally.